Hello and what's up everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, become one of the bunnies, and if you're coming back, oh boy, we have a very informative video today. Today we are bringing Valkyrie Rant back, and we are playing with cats. This update was packed with lore from the previous era. We were introduced to 5 more flame chasers, new playable flame chaser, and a whole lot of horror. So buckle up because today we are answering 3 major questions. How does Felis compete in the meta? What did Elysian Realm bring to us this time? And what's the FTP standing in regards to this update? So, without further ado, grab your catnip and let's get started. This update brought an enormous amount of lore, as well as Pardo, who was the catalyst as well as the host of this update. Pardo is an ice-type imaginary Valkyrie that is an SP who can be a damage dealer or elemental support depending on the team comp and the stigmata used. Her mechanics are complicated in explanation, yet they feel very natural once you get to play her. But in short, she bases her combo off of her weapon skill. The weapon skill is the same as the bows, in which you don't need the exact same weapon to get the desired skill. Now for the stigmata. Her stigmata set are one of the best I've seen so far for multiple of reasons. Her top stigmata is damage oriented, in which it can be used on Valkyries with freezing effects like Pardo and Argent Knight Artemis. This is one of the rare cases where I suggest focusing on top and mid instead of top and bottom for damage oriented Valkyrie, because of the freezing boost that can assure you the freezing of the boss almost the whole match, while top and bottom is more oriented for incredible elemental support and support which makes her a potential Azure Empress substitute. And with her set bonus that is freezing oriented as well, it can be a great fit for Haxor Bunny, Argent Knight Artemis, as it boosts total damage by 50% upon freezing enemies and increases the duration of the freezing by 20% more. Now, for her playstyle, to put it simply, Pardo's combo set goes as hold attack, weapon skill, hold attack, weapon skill. So once her golden bar fills up, you hold the attack button, followed by her weapon skill. Then you hold the attack button again once her purple bar fills up, and it freezes the enemies and it triggers her weapon skill again. You keep doing the same combo and you keep going and going and going until her ult is triggered. Then you just do the combo all over again. The process sounds boring or complicated, but it really comes naturally once you get used to it. In case you are FTP, a good sub would be Robert Perry, as it's freezing focus, and for new players, Nohime would be your best target, as well as grindable chakrams. Now that we're done with Pardo, let's move to the lore chunk. This update brought 5 new flame chasers: Gracio, Cosma, Aponia, Pardo, and finally Vilvi. But before I get into this, let's recap on a past prediction. In the past, I predicted that Elysia would be a Hersher, as well as her being alive, hence her ability to regenerate a full health, covering herself in a pink crystal-like shield and gaining a full HP bar. And with this update, we were given a description of the final battle between Elysia and Kevin from Aponia. Aponia was talking to May about Elysia at that point, and describing the event. Aponia, I decided to remember everything about that person using that blessing the heaven granted me. I recorded every instance of that person's fate, intertwining with mine, and throughout the times, read them closely. I saw how she lived, how she fought, how she walked through the mud, how she wore the crown of thorns, and how she decorated herself so splendidly anew when she attended her final banquet. I found things I missed in her life. May, like what? Aponia. Just like we are now. That day, she stood in front of me and told me how she was fated to die in 10 days. But 14 days later, Eden's new clothes for her would be made, and her eyes still had the truest of happiness and hope for that moment. 16 days later, Kevin's birthday would come, and she would sing the tunes gently as she gave him a final gift. And then, she said that sentence. Do you understand, May? You, both of you made the same decision in the end. Even if fate cannot be changed, I, and I alone, will decide the process by which we get there. How remarkable. Let's get back to this. So basically, her being introduced as the acting enemy who wanted to unite humanity but still failed and was killed on the hands of Kevin. Which takes me to this theory of the origins of the Kaslana stigmata design, in which it describes Kevin's dreams of salvation as well as Elysia's dream of a better future. The way the sword has fallen over the flower and it broke it into two pieces. This kind of describes Kevin's regrets from the previous era. And I do find that interesting choice of design. Another big event we were introduced to was through Pardo and Raven, which took us on an adventure to meet the rest of the Flame Chasers, and there we got to meet opposed Honkai Odyssey mobs and bosses, scattered in colors as if they were drawn, which bring the following questions. How old are the aliens exactly? And did they have a hand in the destruction of Earth 50,000 years ago too? But I'll leave the answer for the Flame Chasers video that is coming up really soon. Finally, we reached the predictions. By now, I fully expect Elysia to be alive, and her hiding in the Elysian Realm as it now blended with Aponia, as well as the aliens being here on Earth 50,000 years ago, since the Elysian Realm is built based upon the visitors and the residents' memory. Moreover, I predict Kalpas to be one of those aliens that a certain cult worshipped back then. The main reason being what the Void Archive said about aliens hiding in meteors around the Earth, and that was mentioned in the Alien Key, as well as Grishio drawing a meteor for the representation of Kalpas. Finally, I expect Nagamitsu to be the reincarnation of Vilvi, or Vilvi herself, as we don't really know for sure right now if Vilvi is actually dead, or she lived through this era as well. As their eyes look similar and the ability to make imaginary type weapons such as Nihilus, Clock Bastard, and the second divine weapon, the train that we saw earlier, while Nagamitsu being able to make the genius device and operate in the sea of quanta and the imaginary space with a lot of skill. Now that we're done with prediction, let me take my tinfoil hat off and crunch some numbers. This update brought a lot of crystals and the Flame Chasers entry will reset, which means around 1,300 crystals as well as a total of 500 weekly in the Elysian Realm. As you increase the difficulty of the levels you will be able to get. 540 total crystals from events, including the Azure Imprius event that's coming up, and a 3-day login bonus. So we have a total of 2,340 crystals without the Abyss and Memorial Arena crystals. So in regards of F2P players stand base, it's not the best update to invest, as it's more of a prep version for the bigger version that's coming up. There's a buying event, and when there's one like that, you would be expecting that this is the hoarding update and the next update should be the spending update. Which means the next update will be a valuable one. So I recommend keeping your crystals, grinding for Felis, fragments, stigmata, and whole equipment, keeping the gacha for later, keeping the investment for later. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I've got for you guys today. Make sure to tell me what do you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.